Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Cruz and welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm going to show you how I use the exotic SL drive. Before we get started, please do all of the things that help this channel grow. Like this video, comment and subscribe, hit the bell icon, and if you want to donate to the channel directly, please see the donation link in the description box below. Without further ado, let's get started. Man, so this is a throwback sound for me, and this is kind of a hidden gem of a pedal that I've had in my possession for years and years now, and have always told people you can transform pretty much any guitar into sounding like you're putting it in front of a old school pushed Marshall, that brown sound type of thing that I think a lot of us guitarists wanted to go for, at least more specifically me. I was not into too much of the modern day Mesa sound as much as I was into the old school brown sound Van Halen thing that he got, just that big 4x12 pushed Marshall thing. I always loved it and always really enjoyed it, and this pedal was one of the pedals that I leaned on to help me get there when I didn't have all of the amps and a big speaker cabinets that I needed to get that sound. Now, I'll be honest with you, if I had my choice, I wouldn't necessarily use a Telecaster, but I wanted to show you in this video that even using a single coil Tele that you've seen on this channel before, I don't use it for this kind of music at all. You could hear the thickness, the fullness of this pedal. It basically can transform any guitar, any setup into a full-blown hard rock metal sound just by the stomp of this foot switch. If I had to compare this pedal, I think that you can get very similar sounds with a lot of different pedals that are out there. Maybe the Pinnacle by Wampler, but one of my favorites actually has always been the Angry Charlie by JHS. I think they nailed that brown sound thing. I mean, really well, and that was my pedal of choice for a long time. When I started getting into ambient music years and years ago, I found myself needing those heavier tones less and less and less, and I didn't feel quite comfortable keeping all of those pedals in my arsenal, so I sold them off. But one pedal that I kept as a little bit of a secret weapon was the SL drive. It was such a small pedal, such a small footprint that gave me such a big sound. Now, just for a reference, I'm going to play you my Telecaster clean right now without any effects on it, so that you could hear the differences between the Telecaster on its own and then when I kick on the SL drive. Now let's put on the SL drive, simply the SL drive on its own, no other effects or pedals on top of that. Now, even back in the day when these tones were an absolute must for me, I always incorporated compression. It's just been my little secret weapon. Now, it does bring the noise up a little bit, but I've never really minded that because I felt like the sound was more complete as a whole. So I would control the noise more with my volume knob or my volume pedal. But for me, the sound was more enjoyable to play with. I felt like I was playing more even sounding tones, and I got a little bit more hair on my grit sound. So I'm going to put some compression on. This is the Walrus Audio Deep 6 compressor going into the SL drive. So as you can hear, it's like 0 to 100 really quick, right? I go from basically nothing with the Telecaster all the way through to getting these amazing tones. Now I'm going to add a little bit of reverb on there so that you could hear it maybe in a more solo style thing, or maybe a little more ambience to it, and you can hear what that tone sounds like. there it is. That is the SL Drive in all of its glory. Not a typical pedal that you would see me review, or, you know, not a typical tone that I would, you know, easily gravitate towards. Obviously, I'm more of an ambient guitar player, but I love these kind of tones. I miss them. This is sort of like my throwback tone. This is the tone that Cruz was originally known for way before the ambient stuff. Now, this generation doesn't know me for that. That's more of the old school Cruz, but this is like, I don't know, it feels like home. Some of my older musician friends may watch this and go, there he is. That's the Cruz you remember. I think I've showed you some of the good qualities about this pedal. Now let's talk about some of the not so good qualities. Because of the footprint, the pedal sometimes isn't quite as versatile as I would like it to be. I'm pushing the pedal's tone quite a bit to get some clarity out of it, and that's kind of surprising because I'm using it with a Telecaster on the bridge pickup, so you would think that I had to back it off, if anything, but the reality is that it's kind of a dull or warm sounding pedal, but almost too warm to where it can sound pretty muddy pretty quickly. That's another reason why I like adding compression to these kind of tones, because I feel like it cleaned it up just a little bit while still retaining that gritty sound, and I like that, but I also wanted it to sound somewhat understandable to the audience. Now, one thing that this pedal does have that a lot of people don't realize is it has internal settings. I don't remember where I put my internal settings because I did it so long ago. Definitely a beneficial feature, especially if you want to vary the tones a little bit, but it doesn't mean that it's easier to work with. Like, imagine having a pedal that does give you a ton of different variations in tones, but you have to literally open up the pedal to get to it. Well, that's exactly what we have here. So in a live situation, that option doesn't really help me too much. I almost wish that those internal settings were somehow exposed on the outside of the pedal so I could at least access them. And I just wish that I got a little bit more versatility out of the tone knob. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want it to be so drastic where it changes the characteristic of the pedal. That's the beauty of having a brown sound, is that at the end of the day, it's meant to sound sort of warm and mid-rangey all at the same time. But I kind of wish I could tweak it a little bit more to each guitar that I'm using. And certainly in this situation, I was surprised of how little that tone knob actually changed the tone. But it could just be the very pedal that I'm using. It's been years since I've used this thing. I will say this, I think this pedal is a great pedal to have in your arsenal, specifically if this is not a common sound that you try to achieve and all of a sudden you got a gig that needed you to get this sort of sound on the fly, and maybe you don't have products like an HX Stomp where you can create that sound using the HX Stomp's amps. Then this is an awesome pedal to have, specifically because it's such a small pedal. It's a mini, and to have such a big sound out of a small pedal is really amazing in my opinion, and just shows how far we've come in our tones and pedals overall throughout the years. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comment section if you enjoyed it as well. If there's another pedal that you may have that kind of gets you that sound that you don't really use anymore, but you still got to keep it. For me, it's this one. It's also been the Angry Charlie, as I mentioned before, by JHS. But let me know in the comment section below what pedal that you love, that still you have, that may not be on your pedal board right now, but you love using it just like this one. Please do all of the things that help this channel grow. Like this video, comment and subscribe, hit the bell icon, and don't forget, if you want to donate to the channel, there is a donation link in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.